In this video, I'm going to talk to you about the differences between the three DJI Mavic 3 drones and give you a better idea about which one you should go out and buy. The DJI Mavic line has always been the flagship line in the portable drone section that DJI offer, and at the moment we have three different choices of DJI Mavic 3 drones. So originally we saw the DJI Mavic 3, then we saw the DJI Mavic 3 Classic, and now we have the DJI Mavic 3 Pro. Now fortunately there was a lot of main similarities between all three of these drones, and you'll notice that throughout this video the main difference is only in these three drones is the camera and the price. So in this video I want to try and break down about to give you an understanding which one should you go and get, which one is going to be better for your needs, or should you simply just not get any of these and just stick with the smaller mini drones. Now all of these drones look identical, the only difference you're going to see is the actual camera on the front. So there's no difference really in the actual physical look of any of these drones, and also when you actually get into the actual drone itself, the actual brains of it, the features, are all identical as well. So you're not going to miss out. So if you was to buy the Mavic 3 Classic, which is the cheaper out of all of these, then you're going to get the exact same features. They all share the same. And these features are remarkable. So you have not only the camera, but everything that goes along with that. So all the special features you get on these drones that you don't get on, say, the Mini 3 Pro or the Air 2S. So the focus track on here is just better than any other drone. So you have the option in active track to position any of these drones on a clock face, just tell you where you want it to go, and the drone will sit it there and basically follow you, and then you can basically change that position on the fly. So let's just say the drone was tracking you from the side. You can go onto the menu and go, right, I want you to now track me from 9 o'clock, and the drone will then just pivot around and track you this way, and it will just do that wherever you want on a 360 degrees clock face, and it works brilliantly. And they all have omnidirectional obstacle avoidance, so it will have sensors all around it and detecting objects and avoid them. Again, that works great. You also have the exact same power of these drones, so the propellers, it is a really fast drone, but it means it's also super strong, so wind resistance is not a problem for these drones. You also have all the other features that we've seen, so master shots, active track, hyperlapse, everything you could possibly want is on all three of these drones. And other additional features which we've just seen recently, like the cruise control or waypoints, where you can go on a map and you can tell the drone exactly where you want it to go and plot like your own dedicated flight path. All three do the same. And we've also seen the new night video mode, which boosts the ISO and it takes away some of the noise in that shot, so your videos at night are going to look clearer and sharper. You've got cruise control where you can just click one button on the controller and the drone will just fly in a straight path on its own. They all do exactly the same. So to take away from this is that no matter which one of these Mavics you get, the actual features inside of it through the menu system are all identical. Where they get slightly different is the cameras on the front of the drones. Now the main camera, the 5.1K Hasselblad sensor with these amazing colours, is the same on every single one. So it's all going to shoot in 5K 50, 4K 120. The quality from the video and photos from this Mavic line camera is exceptional, much better than the Mini 3 Pro or the Air 2S, 100%. They've all got the same main camera. But this is where it starts to get different. You see, each one of these Mavic drones has a different camera or lack of. So if we look at the Mavic 3 Classic, this just has one main camera on the front of it, and that's the 5.1K Hasselblad sensor. It doesn't have any telephoto zoom. Now it does have a digital zoom, you can zoom up to 3 times on here, but basically what that's doing is that's just cropping into that image, so the quality from the zoom is not very good. Now if you're not bothered about having a telephoto zoom, but you just want all the features that the Mavic line brings, the strength, the performance with all these additional features I've just mentioned, then the Mavic 3 Classic is a fantastic option, and it's one I would recommend to a lot of people who want to just get into this Mavic line without spending more money. It also has a lot of advantages as well, not only the price, but it also has a C1 label. So if you're in the UK or Europe, especially in Europe, then you can fly this in the A1 category without having to do additional tests, and that's a big advantage, and that's something that the Mavic 3 Pro doesn't have, which I'll get onto. But Mavic 3 Classic, for value for money, and it's the cheapest one, and I'll talk about price at the end of the video, this is a fantastic drone. Now the Mavic 3, this is actually not available anymore on the DJI website, but you can get some really good deals of this used because a lot of people are selling theirs, like I'm selling mine soon. However, what does this camera bring? So this has the same 5.1K Hasselblad sensor, but it also has this camera on the top of it, and this is a 1/2 inch tele lens. This is an f4.4 with 162mm optical zoom. So what DJI have said about this since it was released is this is an explorer camera. So it was never intended to be this fantastic tele lens, dedicated tele lens. It was to basically explore into the distance and look and really zoom in and go, that seems a cool place to film. I'll go out and fly there. I mean, so the actual tele lens of it's good. However, I never used it personally myself a lot because aside from the 7x, which was optical, the rest of it was all just digital processing, digital zoom, so it was never really that good. And especially at low light, because it was an f4.4, it introduced a lot of noise and grain, so it was kind of like a gimmicky feature. I didn't really use it that much, to be honest. But in regards to the actual performance, again, this is exactly the same. The Mavic 3 is a fantastic drone. You get the advantage that you get this extra zoom if you need it. You've got 7x optical zoom, which is good. That was like the biggest thing on it on that Explorer mode. But you're going to get all the other features there as well. Now, I have seen some really good prices actually of the Mavic 3. Now it's become basically obsolete on the DJI website, so you can get some good deals of this. Don't think that this drone is now dead. It is a fantastic drone with all the exact same features as the other drones in the Mavic lineup. And then we've just seen the DJI Mavic 3 Pro, and noticeably the main difference on this, and the only real difference, is this absolutely enormous camera now on the front of it, which supports 3 different dedicated cameras, 3 different lenses. So you've got the main 5.1K Hasselblad sensor, you've also got a 3x 70mm 1/1.3 inch medium tele lens, and you've also got a 7x 166mm 1/2 inch tele lens. So the actual options that you have with this compared to the Mavic 3 is that these are dedicated optical lenses. So it's not just going to be like a digital zoom. You have a 3x 70mm and you have a 7x 166mm. And just look at the videos on here on the screen. The actual quality coming from these lenses is just mind-blowingly good. It's like really nice and sharp, really clear. It's fantastic. And the 3x lens is an f2.8, so in low light it's going to be much better. It also supports normal, D-Log and D-Log-M, and also you can use my favorite color profile, which is HLG. And brilliantly, the difference between this is how it gets different is that the 3x zoom on here, which is, I've seen from other people reviews, that's like their favorite lens on here, and it is mine the same, because it gives you more options, more choices of what you can do with it. So the active track I mentioned before, you can use the 3x lens on here in active track and get these really close 70mm shots when you're either tracking yourself in a car, might be walking. It just gives you that extra added effect. So you can have a tracking shot from far away, and then you can also zoom in at 70mm and get this really close-up shots. You can also use it for like spotlight mode as well. It is phenomenal, and it's not limited in FPS either, so these all shoot in 4K 60, so you can get good slow-mo as well. Now the 7x 166mm, this is like a really punched in shot, which is fantastic for compression. So it also brings advantage that if you're in a location, for instance, like in the UK, and you don't want to be flying over cities or towns, you could have your drone quite far out and just use this 166mm 7x zoom, and then you can get really close to these areas that you probably don't want to fly over or cannot fly over. It gives you that option. And comparing the spec compared to the Mavic 3, this is an f3.4, whereas the Mavic 3 was an f4.4, and it's 12 megapixel, so it is better in low light. It's also good because although you can't use it in active track, you can use it in spotlight, so you can get really close to the action. But for me, what I will be using it for the most is these really zoomed in shots when I'm quite far away, or for compression. It's just fantastic. So for orbit shots, everything just looks brilliant. But it gives you the creative choice, what creators want, of having 3 different dedicated lenses on just one camera. So I can have a wide far out shot Then I can zoom in a bit more, then I can zoom in loads with that 7 times. It just gives you those extra options. Now the battery life on the Mavic 3 Pro is actually slightly less, and this is because its downside to the Mavic 3 Pro, depending where you live, it's actually heavier. So this weighs over 900 grams. So the battery life is reduced by a couple of minutes on spec. Generally, I'm getting about 30, maybe 32 minutes of battery life when flying this, but I'll talk about in a second about the bundles. However, if that's going to be an issue for you depending on where you live, you might want a drone that's under 900 grams, then both of these drones are under that. So that's something to consider depending on where you live. Now price point, the Mavic 3 Pro and the Mavic 3 are the exact same as when the Mavic 3 came out. Now the Mavic 3 Pro comes in bundles now, and I think this is a fantastic idea we've been wanting for a while. So you don't have to then go out and buy the Fly More kit. You can get this now bundled with a bag with extra propellers. You can either get it with the DJI RC or DJI RC Pro, and then you're going to get some extra batteries. So you get 2 extra batteries and a 100-watt charger. So as I mentioned, I was getting about 30 minutes on this, but because I'm getting 2 extra batteries in that bundle, I've got 90 minutes, which is more than enough. And if I need to, I can just charge it in the car as well. So price point is where it's at, and this is what sets it apart. Now, I wouldn't say, and I don't think you can get the Mavic 3 because you can't buy it on the DJI website. I wouldn't buy it on like Amazon anymore because it's going to be pretty much the same price as in the Pro version. So price point, it's a no-brainer. If it's the same price, I'd get the Pro. However, if you can get a used one of these and it's in good condition, then that is still a good option, unless you need the tele lenses on here. The Mavic 3 Classic is the cheapest out of all these three at £1,309 or £1,529 with the DJI RC. This doesn't come bundled with a Fly More kit, so you have to buy this separately, which is £529. So the overall price of this can start to creep up once you start adding in these extras. So which one should you go out and buy? Well, if you're just wanting to get into that Mavic series, I would say get the Mavic 3 Classic and then maybe buy 1 extra battery, and that will probably be enough. And it also comes down to your disposable budget as well. So whenever these drones are released, you get this fear of missing out. I need this Mavic 3 Pro, and you probably don't. You know, if you're just flying for fun on the side, just like, I just want the latest and greatest, then if you have the disposable, sure, go and get it. You will not be disappointed. But if you already have the Mavic 3 or the Mavic 3 Classic, you really probably don't need the Mavic 3 Pro. But I do hope this gives you some kind of better idea, the differences between all of these. And if you just fly on a Sunday and you just fly every now and then, you don't need any of these. Just go and get the Mini 3 Pro, and that's portable, cheaper, easier to fly, still good enough. What's great about all of this is we have these options, that we have so many different drones to go out and pick, and they're all great. DJI are just the only kind of company in this space now. It's just about which drone to go out and buy. So if you did enjoy this, please consider subscribing. It really does help out. I've got a lot more content coming really soon. Go and check out some of these videos I'll put in the corners here. Appreciate you watching this. I really do hope it helps, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.